Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about problem solving involving acute angles using the cosine law. Go ahead, grab a piece of paper and a pencil, and let's get started. What do you notice about the triangles listed below? The first thing that I notice is that they are not right triangles. We have two acute triangles. If we look at the first example on side A, we're given side, angle, side. So 17 meters, 42 degrees, and 22 meters. So that's side, angle, side. And in the second example, we're given 3 side lengths, and we're looking for a missing angle. So let's go ahead and write this down. Okay, let's look at our next example. So we're going to be looking at the cosine law formula. So there are two versions, one for if you're looking for a missing side length and one for if you're looking for a missing angle. If we're looking for a missing side length, the formula is c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine capital C. So the side length C is denoted with the lowercase c, and the capital C is for an angle. We can also write this formula for each of the other side lengths. So I could write this as a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine capital A. Or I could write this, if I'm looking for side length B, as b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine capital B. The other version of the formula is basically rearranging this formula and isolating the angle this time, the capital letter, either A, B, or C. So for missing angle, so basically what we're doing is I'm just going to rearrange the first one just to show you where the formula comes from. So I'm looking to isolate C. So C squared, I'm going to subtract A squared and subtract B squared. So subtract A squared, subtract B squared is equal to negative 2AB cosine C. Then we need to divide both sides by negative 2AB because that is attached to cosine C. So I can't add it to the other side. That's one of the common mistakes that are made with this rearranging here. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2AB. So then we're left with cosine C is equal to c squared minus a squared minus b squared divided by negative 2ab. And so the last thing we need to do is just isolate c. So we can write this as the cosine inverse, or the reciprocal, c squared minus a squared minus b squared, all divided by negative 2ab. So those are the formulas. Before we look at our first example, let's just recap the labeling of the triangles. So just remember, across from angle A is side length A, and side lengths have lowercase letters and angles have capital letters. Across from angle C is side length C, and across from angle B is side length B. So in order to use the cosine law, we need either side, 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 or we need 2 side lengths and the contained angle. Okay, let's take a look at our first example now. Calculate the missing side length, and we're going to round to 1 decimal point. So we are looking for side length x. So using our formula, So the side length that we're looking for goes on the left of the equal sign. So it's x squared. And then the other two side lengths fill in the rest of the formula. And then the 61 goes after the cosine. So it doesn't matter if you write 50 squared or 55 squared first, it really doesn't matter. So 50 squared plus 55 squared minus 2 times 50 times 55 cosine 61 degrees. And then we're going to go ahead and simplify. So simplifying, we get x squared equals 2,500 plus 3,025 minus 5,500 times cosine 61. So I can add the 2,500 plus the 3,025, but please do not subtract the 5,500. This is the most common error when making this calculation. Okay, so simplifying further. Okay, so now when we plug this into the calculator, we're going to plug in 5,525, 5,525, subtract. You might have to put this part in a bracket. So 5,500 times cosine 61 equals. And then we need to take the square root of that in order to calculate x. So right now this is for x squared. We need x. So we must take the square root. So x is equal to 53.5, and our unit is centimeters. And we've rounded, so I'm going to put a dot over the equal sign to show that it's an approximation. Okay, let's look at our next example. Okay, so again, we're going to calculate the missing side length. So we're looking for side length x. So x squared is equal to 20 squared plus 23 squared minus 2 times 20 times 23 cosine 47 degrees. Go ahead and simplify. Okay, so again, we can add the 400 and the 529, but do not subtract the 920 from that. The negative 920 is attached to the cosine 47. Okay, so simplifying further, we have x is equal to the square root of 301.5615087. So go ahead and plug that in and round to 1 decimal point. So x is equal to 17.4 meters. Next example. This time we're going to calculate the missing angle. So if you want, you can plug it into the original formula, or you can plug it into that rearranged formula that we talked about earlier. Okay, so plugging into the original formula, so the 13 squared is on the left, and the cosine theta that we're looking for is on the far right. I'm going to also show you using the other rearranged formula. Okay, so once you have everything substituted, you can go ahead and simplify, and we're going to solve for theta, and we're going to round to the nearest whole number. Okay, so simplifying inside the brackets, we have 31.64 divided by negative 131.6. And we're going to take the inverse cosine function, so shift cos or second cos on your calculators. And we get theta is equal to 104 degrees. Okay, let's take a look at our next example. So looking at our next example, A is equal to cosine inverse of 9 squared minus 10 squared minus 11 squared, all over 2 negative 2 times 10 times 11. Okay, let's go ahead and simplify and solve for A. So simplifying inside the bracket, we have A is equal to cosine inverse of negative 140 divided by negative 220. And simplifying further, A is equal to approximately 50 degrees. Okay, next example. For this example, we are going to solve. We're going to find all of the missing sides and angles in the triangle below, and we're going to round to 1 decimal point. So we have side angle side, so I know we're going to be using the cosine law. So first I'm going to look for side length x. So x squared is equal to 11 squared plus 13 squared minus 2 times 11 times 13 cosine 63 degrees. Okay, let's go ahead and simplify. So simplifying under the square root, we get x is equal to 160.1587151, and plugging that into the calculator, we get 12.7 millimeters. So we're not quite done yet. We need to find the other missing angles. So in order to do that, we're actually going to have to now use the sine law. Or we could use the cosine law again because now we have all 3 sides. So let's go ahead and use the cosine law again for extra practice. So let's say we're going to find P this time. Okay, let's substitute into our formula. So we have 13 squared minus 11 squared minus 12.7, which is what we calculated, divided by negative 2 times 11 times 13. And remember, we're taking the inverse cosine function of that. Okay, go ahead and simplify. Okay, so plugging that in, we get approximately 67 degrees. Then we can find angle W by taking 180, subtract 67, subtract 63. And we get angle W is equal to 50 degrees. And last but not least, some questions for you to try on your own. Thank you very much for your attention. Have a great day. Bye-bye.